Plausible structure. Before we look at the plausible structure, we have to identify the bond length between single, double, and triple. If you look at the bond length of single, double, and triple, the single bond length is longer than double, is longer than triple bond. Triple bond has strongest bond attraction towards the nuclei. This is because the additional electrons involved in triple bonds, means in triple bond there are more electrons, exert greater attractive forces on the nuclei. Thus, it has the shortest bond length. The plausible structure. Certain molecules, such as CO2, can have more than one Lewis structure. However, the most stable structure is used to represent the molecule which is referred as the most plausible Lewis structure. These two are the structure for CO2. If you check, the surrounding atoms and the central atom have achieved the octet electron arrangement for both structure. However, you must only choose one most plausible Lewis structure to represent the carbon dioxide molecule. In order to do that, you have to count their formal charge. Formal charge is the difference between the valence electron in an isolated atom, means the atom which is not bonded, isolated atom, and the number of electrons assigned to that atom in a Lewis structure. Means the bonded atom, because in Lewis structure it's a molecule, those atoms form a molecule, so that's the formal charge. Number of valence electron on neutral atom minus number of unshared electron, means the electrons that are not involved in bonding, plus half of the number of the bonding electron. Or if you don't want to use half number of bonding electron, you can also count the number of bond. How many bond are they? So that's how you calculate the formal charge. Let's calculate the formal charge for this particular oxygen. So we start with number of valence electron on neutral atom. Neutral atom oxygen has 6 valence electron minus number of unshared electron. So here oxygen has 6 unshared electron, means the electrons that are not involved in bonding. These are unshared electron, the lone pair of electron. So valence electron oxygen minus unshared electron oxygen minus half of the bonding electron. Our bonding electrons are 2, so half of it is 1, so minus 1. Or you can also minus the number of bond. You only have one number of bond for oxygen, so that's why minus 1. So the formal charge of this particular oxygen is -1. And for another oxygen, number of valence electron is 6 minus unpaired electron 2 minus number of bond. Oxygen number of bond 3. So the formal charge for this oxygen is +1. Carbon, this carbon, number of valence electron 4 minus number of unshared electron. There is no unshared electron or electrons involved in bonding, so there is no unshared electron. So 0 minus how many bonds? 4 bonds for carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4 equal to 0. So the formal charge of carbon is 0. Note the charge of carbon dioxide overall must be 0 because this carbon dioxide is neutral compound. So if you want to check, -1, +1, 0, so it's 0 for carbon dioxide. So this is the formal charge for carbon dioxide with one single bond at one oxygen atom and triple bond at another oxygen atom. For structure 2, carbon dioxide with double bond at both sides. If you check the formal charge for this oxygen, number of valence electron of oxygen 6 minus number of unpaired electron 4 minus number of bond of the oxygen 2, so equal to 0. Same goes to this oxygen. 6 minus 4 minus 2, 0. And the carbon 4 valence electron minus 0 unpaired electron and 4 bonding equal to 0. So all formal charge for this structure are 0. If you want to check, this is neutral atom, 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equal to 0. That's for carbon dioxide. So these are the correct formal charge for carbon dioxide after you check. So which one is the most plausible structure? This one we have -1, 0, +1. And another one we have 0, 0, 0. In order to determine the most plausible structure, you have to select the structure with higher priority. The higher priority is 0 formal charge on all atoms. Here, the structure number 2 has 0 formal charge on all atoms. But this one is not 0 formal charge on all atoms. So 0 formal charge on all atoms. If there are no 0 formal charge on atom, you look at the second priority, smaller formal charge closest to 0. If there is no smaller formal charge closest to 0, you look at the negative formal charge are placed on the more electronegative atom. Okay, there's 3. You have to follow the priority. This is the first priority, second priority, and the third priority. The most plausible Lewis structure is structure number 2 because all atoms have 0 formal charge. When you state which one is the most plausible Lewis structure, make sure you give the reasoning. The reasonings are any of this. So our reasoning here for this structure, it's applicable on 0 formal charge on all atoms. So this is the reason why you choose structure number 2 as the most plausible Lewis structure. 3 possible resonance structure for NCO-. So this is our structure for NCO-. We have 3 structures, 3 possible resonance structure. Which one is the most plausible? You count the formal charge, and then we found that this are the formal charge N-2, C0, O+1, N-1, C0, O0, N0, C0, O-1. So if you look at this, if you want to find the most plausible structure, you cannot find 0 formal charge on all atoms because all structure have no 0 formal charge on all atoms. This is where you go to the second priority, smaller formal charge closest to 0. Now, smaller formal charge. So you have -2, 0, +1, -1, 0, 0, -1, 0, 0. So structure number 1 is cancelled out because you have -2. It's not closest to 0. Only leaving you with structure 2 and structure 3. Okay, so this is cancelled out, structure number 1, because this is not closest to 0. But now, which one is the most plausible? Because both formal charge are closest to 0. Then you go to the priority number 3. Negative formal charges are placed on the more electronegative atoms. N atom, O atom, which one is more electronegative? Oxygen group 16, nitrogen group 15. So group 16 is more electronegative than group 15. So the negative formal charge must be on the more electronegative atom, which is structure number 3. This is where the negative formal charge is at more negative electronegative atom. So structure 3 is the most important resonant structure, or this is the most plausible structure because it has fewer formal charge, means the formal charge is closest to 0. That's the first reasoning why you cancel out structure number 1. And the negative one, or the negative formal charge, is on the more electronegative atom, which is oxygen atom.